Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to discuss with you guys how vulnerable I think that Hawaii is to a Chinese invasion because they don't have guns over there, right? The people are not armed over there because it's an island state, right? You know, it's not, unlike other states where people typically move around, and they might be, let's say, in a state like Pennsylvania, and they move to a state, let's say, like New York, they bring their guns over. You know, if you move to Hawaii, it's really difficult for you to get your guns on an airplane and to get them over to Hawaii. Okay, so most of the people in Hawaii don't have guns, and that makes them really vulnerable, I think, to a Chinese invasion. Now, maybe not now, maybe 10 years from now, 50, 100 years from now. Um, you can't say it can't happen. First of all, back in 1941, who ever expected that Japan would attack Hawaii? Okay, and after that attack happened, all of a sudden, people were considering the possibility of a Japanese invasion and occupation of Hawaii. So look how quickly they went from "can't happen" to "yeah, there's a good chance it might happen." Okay, so same situation exists with Hawaii. If the Chinese were to attack it and quickly occupy it, right, it would be really difficult for the United States Army to retake it. Okay, and the reason is because you still got Americans living there, so you can't just like start carpet bombing the whole island, because now you've got now you're going to start killing your own people, right? So the Chinese would not have a problem of carpet bombing and destroying Hawaii, right, to occupy it. However, the Americans, the American military would have that problem. So the Chinese would have a tactical advantage there. They're willing to do things that the United States is not willing to do. Okay, so that would give the Chinese a tactical advantage. The one tactical advantage that Hawaii would have is if all the people there were armed, right? It would be really impossible for a Chinese invading army to establish dominance of that island. They'd be getting attacked like 24/7, right? But however, the people in Hawaii don't have guns. They've elected politicians that have taken their rights away. Okay, so here's the thing: if Hawaii was ever attacked and occupied, okay, my opinion is because the people living there elected the politicians that took away their gun rights. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to send my kids to go save those people. All right, that's how I feel. But at this point, I'm 49, so it's not likely they would be sending me over there to try and liberate Hawaii. They'd probably try and send my kids over there, and I will hide my kids. I will not let them enlist. I will not let them be drafted. The only way I would fight to defend this country would be in a militia. Okay, and that's the only way I would want my kids to defend this country, in a militia, because if you're in the militia, you're not under contract. If you get a foolish president like we have right now, and he gives bad orders, basically you take your gun and you go home, right? You're not under contract, you're not under obligation. If you don't like the orders that come down, if you think they're foolish, you basically you leave. Okay, if you're enlisted, now you're under contract, you have to do whatever they tell you. So for that reason, I will never I will never enlist in the military. I would never submit to a draft. I would never want my kids to enlist in the military. If the homeland needs to be defended, it is only to be done in the form of a militia, right? And here's the thing. I mean, if you look at what happened in Afghanistan, it doesn't matter how good the military is, right? It doesn't matter how good the equipment is. If the leadership, if the president, the commander in chief is a fool, if the military leadership, right, the Joint Chiefs, the generals, if they're all following a fool, all right, because they're fools themselves, it doesn't matter how good the military is and how good the equipment is, they're gonna fail. They're gonna, it's gonna be a disaster. Okay, so, and these are opinions I have formed since 2020. All right, I'm 49 years old. These opinions are contrary to opinions that I have held for most of my life. In general, for most of my life, I was more or less a war hawk. I thought Vietnam was a good war. Okay, I thought that was justified because it was a war against communism. It was a war against socialism. So I thought the Vietnam War was a good war. I thought that the Iraq wars were good wars, right? I thought that the Afghanistan war was a good war, right? So I supported all those wars. However, in hindsight, the problem that I see with those wars, although the purpose and the intent may have been good, it gave power to people in this country that should not have power. So I think it was counterproductive to liberty and to freedom. So that's why, in hindsight, I'm now against those efforts, even though they may have been justified. And like I said, I've generally been a war hawk for all of my life. I've always taken the position that, hey, if you're not kicking ass, you're getting your ass kicked. Okay, it's one or the other. Right? That's the position I always took in my life. However, looking at the situation that we have right now, looking who's in the White House, looking at the mess that the military leadership did in Afghanistan, I want no part of that. I would never send my kids to be under that type of leadership. It doesn't matter who the next president is or the president after that. If you can get a Biden type of president in there now, there's a good chance that you might have another Biden-like president in the future, right? So there's if the people in this country are stupid enough to vote for a Biden, right, for a Biden-like president, now they'll do it again in the future. And I don't want my kids taking, orders from a president like that. So if Hawaii was to be invaded by the Chinese, hey, listen, my opinion is that, hey, those people over there, they should not have voted for politicians to take away their gun rights. Okay, they chose to put themselves in a position where they don't have the ability to defend themselves. I mean, they're on their own. All right? And nothing against Hawaii. I mean, I feel the same way about people in New York City or people in New Jersey. I would only fight in the militia to defend my, the immediate area that I live in. Perhaps other areas where, people have, vote to protect their rights, that actually fight for freedom. I will not fight for people that will not fight for their own freedom and that will vote for politicians that take away their rights and their ability to defend themselves. So I want to share that with you guys. If you guys have any of your own comments, put in the comment section. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Talk to you guys soon.